All right, folks, this is part 2 of the electronics video that I've been doing for this week. If you haven't seen part 1, I just did 2D sonar and mapping. How to use 2D sonar and mapping to find structure and to find fish. Kind of show you what fish look like. Showed you a little bit what structure and brush look like, what timber looks like. Just so you can get an idea, you know, what you need to be looking for, places you need to be idling, places you need to be finding fish. And today we're going to go a step higher. We're going to graduate you up to looking at 3D sonar. So I've got my Garmin's here on the console and on the bow. And I just want to show you exactly what I'm looking for when I'm looking at side scan or side view. I'm looking at out from my boat 100 foot on both sides. I can idle and see what's to the left of me and to the right of me, 100 foot or whatever I decide to set the settings at, underneath my boat, and look at the mapping all at the same time. And I'm doing it with one unit here. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the settings that I got on my graph and so forth. As I mentioned on the other video, I wanted to do this. I'm not really that tech savvy a guy when it comes to fishing electronics, yet as I guess dumb as I am when it comes to electronics, I still use them a lot to catch fish and to find fish. It's definitely integrated into my fishing arsenal. And so I want to dispel the myth that, you know, you got to be this kind of techie kid, young person to be able to use electronics to find your fish. I learned how to use electronics from my dad, who's 70 years old. So almost everything, the base knowledge that I learned came from him. And that technology, even though it looks a little bit different today, they just took something that worked really good 30 years ago and just made it better, made the image more crisp, and just made our tools a lot more efficient to use. So I'm gonna show you the little bit more advanced tools that I like to use, but I'm gonna try to break it down into verbiage that you can maybe understand if you're not exactly the most tech savvy when it comes to fishing electronics, just electronics in general. Just think of your electronics on your boat just like you do your cell phone. When you get a cell phone, they don't give you instructions to your cell phone. You take it home, and while your wife's talking to you, after she comes home from work, you kind of diddle with it and figure out how to get in and out of stuff, right? No, you do. You sit there on the couch and you fiddle with it and you get it right. It's exactly how it works with the units. You don't need instructions for these. Of course, you can watch videos on YouTube and that'll help you, but at the end of the day, what you got to do is get in your boat, take a day, and just look at stuff. You're not going to make these things crash. You're not going to blow them up. You're not going to, like, ruin the server. All right? All you got to do is get in your boat and start fiddling around. See what works for you. So I'm going to show you what works for me, what stuff looks like. So already, just in the first moment or so, go back and look at part 1. I'll tell you, like I always go around high percentage areas. So I'm idling around this island right now, and I found this a huge wad of bait. And I found it was actually under the boat. There's a few fish with it too, but you can see that big cloud of bait there. This is not a hump. This is just me idling up shallow around the island and then going back down deep. There's not a hump here. But soon as the boat got in about 23, 24 foot of water, and I was on the other side of the lake, I started marking fish and bait and stuff in 20 foot of water so too. You see there's a big cloud of bait, and if you look on the outside of it, there's a few fish scattered. They got him, right? The gangster, little spotted bass gangsters around the outside of it. So obviously if I throw a waypoint on that, that's not going to be in the same place if I come back. But I want to make a mental note that, hey, every time that I start to idle around in 22 foot of water, 23, you know, I'm starting to see bait. And so that's going to be the zone that I want to start to target. And so what I like to do, let's just say I've been idling for 2 hours, and every time I get in about 20 to 25 foot, I start to mark bait and structure like that. What I like to do is I'll come over here to my mapping. All right, and then I like to color code it. If we know that every time we get in 20 to 25 foot of water, we start to see fish, why not just idle in 20 to 25 foot of water, find as many places as you can? That's how you use your electronics to catch fish, all right? So that's what I'm gonna do now. We're gonna be extremely efficient. That's the purpose of electronics. I'm gonna just shade in everything 20 to 25 foot. So what I'm gonna do on my Garmin's here, I'm gonna go to the menu, Then I'm going to go to layers, water, and then depth shading and shallow shading. I'm going to turn those on. All right, and you'll see it'll populate. It'll populate all. You see now I got colors. Just give it a second too. And so everything in this little light blue area, I can just turn all the colors off if I want to, and then just only have 20 to 25 foot mark. But what I can do when I color shade like that, I can just set my boat right on that contour. You see, this is my mapping. Right now I'm running mapping, down view, all right? It's looking right under the boat, side view, looking 80 foot to the left, 80 foot to the right. And I can just put my boat right on that. There's another water bait in 20 foot of water. You see how you start to pattern stuff out, and you never made a cast. You just looked at the screen, you start to pattern things out. I'll just lay my boat right on that blue, that baby blue little line there, and I'll just start to idle. And then every time I get to a piece of structure, there goes a couple little spotted bass right there on the bottom. You can see them. I'll make it a little bigger. This is what bass look like on 3D imaging right there. You see it's a little bit more detailed, a little bit more crisp on 3D. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can actually count the fish when you're looking at 3D. And let me go back to that so you guys can see it really good. I kind of went through that fast. So I'm going to pause the screen. And that's what they look like right there. That's fish. You probably want to throw, this would be an area you want to fish. I got a lot of elements working for me, especially for catching spotted bass. Over my shoulder right here is like 100 foot of water. I got food, and I got 4 bass that I idle over going 5 miles an hour. So that means if I can mark 5 fish going 5 miles an hour, if I slow down and get on the trolling motor, there's probably 5 times as many more fish there. So there's a way to catch fish right here. So I'll just put my boat on that little baby blue line, 20 to 25 foot of water, and then I'll just idle. Just idle, just fine. See, there goes another water bait right there. You can see there's now a pattern is emerging without you even making a cast. That's how you can go somewhere you've never been before, or if you only have limited time to practice for your tournaments at home. That's how you can start to cover a lot of water a lot faster. Instead of spending 45 minutes fishing this island, I can already find out where the hot spots are. Like if they're going to be on the downside tip, down current tip, or they're going to be on the up current tip. That's how you can get really efficient really fast. And also it shows you what side of the island is steeper or flatter. You kind of know what they're using. Now I'm going to keep idling. I'm going to show you what some of the structure looks like on side view and down view, so you actually know what you're looking at. This is by far probably the most efficient way to look for fish and structure is on side view and down view, because you're looking so many different directions at once. A little bit of brush out here on this point where I'm at now, that would be a bonus. There's a few fish. There's a few fish scattered out through here suspended. You see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See those dots right there? That's fish. I can fish for those. I could fish for those, but what I really like is when I see those dots suspended over a brush pile, over a rock, over a boulder, then I get that juicy feeling then, like that feels good. But when they're just suspended out in the middle of nowhere like that, that's kind of like we call that our C stuff. A stuff is when they're on structure. B stuff is when you got, food and fish. You're marking food and fish. The C stuff is just when you got random fish. There's probably something they're relating to that I'm not seeing just yet. I don't see much brush here. There goes a few more fish. See the dots up there? Just idle over them. You actually can see the fish on side view too, over here on the side. Let's pick this up. Now, to give you an idea of what we're looking at, you see a lot of disturbance out here, a little bit of disturbance here. What I'm actually looking at, where it gets, you see where it's light green, and then it goes to dark. What that is, if you could think of shining a flashlight across a flat surface or across a table, you wouldn't be able to see what's on the floor, right? So where that dark area is just like a steep drop off, like just it's going flat, 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 and then it drops off. So you can't mark anything, so it marks it just black. That's what that is. There's a little bit of a shelf. See, I got a shelf here. Right here, I think that's timber that I'm looking at right there. Most likely. Anything on this lake over 30, 35 foot is going to be timber. But just think, when you're looking at with side imaging, let's just go straight up side imaging for a second. When you're looking at side imaging, this is my right, this is my left, the center is the boat where we're idling. The black that you see is just going to be just straight up water column, right? So if I see anything in here, I'm just seeing, like, I can put a dot on that I see right there, and it'll show me exactly where that wad of bait is. So I can go back to my map, and that wad of bait was like out to the back of the boat. You see the boat right there is to the back right corner of my boat is where that wad of bait was. But right now we're looking at bottom structure. I'm idling, looking for laydowns, stumps, brush piles, looking for that type of thing. So I'm actually going to be looking in the green section. I just like to use the greens. I think you can see it better. I just idle over a piece of brush there. I'm gonna idle back over that. So what I'll do, that's brush right there on the bottom. I'm gonna just pause that, put my crosshairs over it, new waypoint. Uh-oh, let me go back, I didn't do that right. Put your crosshairs on whatever you're trying to mark, new waypoint. And then when you go back to your map, it'll show you exactly where that was. So look right here in my map, it's gonna be 55, the second one there, 455. Let's go back over that. Well, idle back over and you'll be able to see it. Oh, look at those fish. It's 1, 2, 3. There's fish right there. There again, on down view. You see, as soon as I come out of that timber line, let's pause this. This is a good image right here. These fish are notorious. On this lake, we have timber. That's what that's marking right there, those streaks. Just like forest timber. 32 to 100 to the bottom of the lake, there's gonna be timber. They didn't clear the lake. A good pattern on this lake is getting right on the edge of the timber lines and looking for fish. You see right on the edge of the timber line, that's literally probably 50 foot from the timber line. You got 1, 2, 3 fish. They use these timber lines and as deep as 70, 80 foot of water as like an ambush point. They'll sit right on the edge and just wait for bait to come by. So it's no different than fishing shallow, but they're using 35, 50, 60 foot timber lines to do the same thing that they would do on the shoreline. There was a few fish sitting right on the edge of that timber. The ultimate of 3D sonar right now is forward-facing sonar. So I actually have a transducer on my trolling motor that'll look out in front of me, and I can point my trolling motor and literally just wherever I want to look. I can look behind the boat with the trolling. I can look here. I can look there. I can set the distance that I want to look at too. So there's a little point off of this island right here. And you can see again in about 25 foot of water, I saw some bait. You see that's bait right here. I saw some bait right here. So what I would like to do, after I mark a couple more places that have bait on them, because bait usually will stay in the same vicinity for quite some time, I'll come back and I'll throw a jerk bait on these points right here so you can see. I'm gonna unpause it here. See if, can you back up? There's the boat. Now it's actually under the boat. Now you see there's on the 2D sonar, if you look up here, a big wad of bait that I just marked on 3D, you can see a few fish kind of streaking through it on my 2D. But I can just kind of take my trolling motor. There it goes again. I found them again. See, there's a big wad of bait right here to the left. Look at that fish. That's what it looks like. You got some fish streaking through that bait that's right under the boat too. So I've got fish in a couple places here. That's pretty neat. You can do stuff like that now. See, I'm just gonna just keep looking around. Yeah, see, I found it. There they are again. All right, you see there? That right there. That's a fish. I got water bait right here. The boat's drifting a little bit, so let's see where else. Just get that. Look, there they go again. See? There's a fish moving off to my left. I got bait over here. And I can look at the arrow on my trolling motor here, and I can see exactly where they are. Picture bait, picture jerk bait, and see exactly where they are. You can see it. Look at the bait here, bait there. There was a fish that was streaking through that bait. You got a lot of activity going on in this area right here, and you probably could feel pretty confident you could catch a couple fish. That's a good hard reading on bait right there. Same depth that we've been marking all day, 20 foot, 20 to 25 foot. You can even see it, confirm it right here on 2D sonar, right up under the boat. You can see a big cloud of bait. I'm gonna just go straight to it. You can see bait here. There's fish there. There's one or two fish streaking through it there. So I got confirmation on both units. God, look at the fish there. I'm gonna throw a waypoint on that. We'll come back and fish it. There's fish there going through the bait. So I'm seeing bait 30 foot out in front of the boat, right over that way. I'm seeing fish and bait directly under the boat in 25 foot of water. Throw some dots on that one. That's gonna be a good place to fish.